Well, good morning, beloved. This is your girl Sharon once again from my front seat. And here I am giving God all praise, honor, and glory for what? For a brand new day. It is Thursday. Today is the 9th of May, 2019. And yes, gracefully, God is carrying us through this year. I feel a sneeze coming on. I tried to get it out before we got started, but okay. So what is my schedule like, or my schedule? So by the grace of God, I awaken 2:30 in the morning. I leave home about 3:30. I drive to the city of Montclair, which is about 22 miles from home. I then catch the 4:15 bus, and it brings me into LA. Usually takes about an hour, sometimes a little over. Today, maybe 45 minutes. It was just clear sailing on today, right? So when I get on the bus, I read the proverb for the day. I go over what the commentator says. I talk to the Lord about it. Then when I get here to work, I just sit in the cafeteria here and I grab a paper towel and I jot down my notes. So here we go. Proverbs 9. So here, wisdom. Again, she, her. Here, Solomon is speaking of wisdom as a house that's built. And it's huge. Okay? This house has 7 pillars. Just a huge house, right? See, and I be scribbling sometime. Now, chapter 8, it did speak about those blessings of being obedient, right? Here in chapter 9, he lets us know that wisdom is just like full of hospitality. You ever been someplace and your hostess or your host or your hostess was just so kind, so accommodating, and not just, oh, have a seat, make yourself at home, but from the time you walked in until the time you left, and you just felt so at home. They didn't have to tell you, just be at home. They made you feel it. So here, wisdom is offering hospitality, generous with it. Not just, all right, y'all just sit down someplace. But wisdom says, here, you can sit here and you sit here. Let me get this for you. Let me get that for you. Even those who are simple, come on in. There's room for you as well. Why? Because wisdom is saying, I have something to teach you. Wisdom is saying, if you get it, you will live. Not only will you live, you will thrive in your living. Wisdom is saying, come on, eat of my bread, drink of my wine. What I have to offer, it's good. It's not like the immoral woman. It's good. It's what's going to sustain you. It's what's going to cause you to, again, to thrive, to live. If you just do as I'm teaching you. Remember that phrase, don't talk back. Just go where I told you and do what I showed you. Now, I don't know if that always was a good thing. However, wisdom is saying, if you just take heed to what I'm saying, just take heed to it, you'll live. And then in your living, you'll please God. Why? Because wisdom, it is a good thing. And all you have to do is ask for it. It says here also that wisdom, she slaughtered her own meat. Now, so I was reading what the commentator says about that. And the commentator lets us know that oftentimes, who worked in a slaughterhouse? Men. Oftentimes, you're in the family who went out to slaughter the pig. Men. Now, if I was there, I probably would have been in on that pig slaughtering because I love me some bacon. Good God Almighty. Okay. But here, wisdom has talents, and wisdom is doing things that maybe women normally didn't do. I have a sister-in-law, her name is Judy, and I remember like back in the 80s when VCRs were like really popular. So in her room, she had a television, And even before they were mounting televisions, I mean, she had her TV mounted and she had run wires from here to the VCR, but then she sliced this wire and she did something else and she ran it from here to there, and then she connected it up to the wire that was on the rooftop antenna or something. And she was like, you know what, Sharon, I don't know where that came from. She said, my parents don't go around doing things like this. I said, well, who taught it to you? She said, I have no idea. Wisdom, that's what wisdom does. Wisdom figures it out. Wisdom, she does things that maybe most women don't do. Now, I know we have, electricians who are women, truck drivers who are women, but there was a time where women did not have those occupations. So here, wisdom is a bad mamma jamma. She what? Slaughters her own meat. And wisdom is saying here, if you forsake foolishness, you will live. Beloved, if we forsake foolishness, we'll live. And again, not only will we live, we will thrive. Now, wisdom goes on, and Solomon, again, he's teaching his son here, and he's saying, look, dude, I need you to get it, because there are pitfalls out there. I need you to get it. Beloved, there are pitfalls out there. And we said in Bible class last night, we won't get it until we get it. And at some point, we've got to get it. I understand we live in the flesh. However, and I understand we've been walking on the Lord's side for a long time, and we've made mistakes, and we make mistakes. However, at some point, I need to get it. At some point, I need to understand this activity or that activity or being this way or being that way, it prospered me nothing. So at some point, I need to say, you know what? I'm rolling with Jesus. Okay. Says here, the scoffer, leave them alone. Don't even try to correct a scoffer. Why? Because they're going to imitate you. Not imitate you in a good way, but in the bad way. Oh, here they come. Here they come. Remember as a child, you got home from church and then you would go and you would play church and you would imitate what this one did or that one did. And as children, it was funny, right? Not foolish, but it was just children being children. But here the scoffer is making fun of wisdom. Wisdom is saying, just leave them alone. The wise, however, do what? They will get wiser. Number one, if you want to know wisdom, when we heed to wisdom, that's showing wisdom. It's showing that we're wise. It's showing that we want to thrive in our living, right? So the wise gets wiser. Scripture then says, fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Beloved, to come into the fear of the Lord, to come into the knowledge of the Lord, that's showing I'm on the right track. That's saying I'm not going to just do everything. Now, will I fall? Will I make mistakes? Yes. But eventually that falling will become stumbling. Why? Because I'm fearing the Lord. So although my flesh tells me do this or do that, the fear of the Lord that I have inside of me, it's going to make me say, And if I'm in a situation where my character is at stake, if I'm in a situation where I know God is not pleased with this, guess what I'm going to do? I'm running up out of there. I just am. And I pray that should I find myself in those situations ever again in life, that I'm strong enough to run up away from there. But when we get comfortable with flirting, when we get comfortable with just being comfortable, when we get comfortable in the carnality of things, it's so easy to fall. This is why we've got to stay above reproach. At least try to. Come on now. And when you get wisdom, it's for yourself. Any wisdom that you have, any wisdom that I have, it's for you. It's for me. And then not only is it going to help us, but others around it will see. But get wisdom for yourself. Solomon is saying to his son, if you don't get it get it for yourself. Not for me, not for your mama, not for your children, your spouse. Get it for yourself. Beloved, we got to get this thing for ourselves. Then that foolish woman, Solomon says that she sits there on her porch in a chair. And chairs weren't always common. Sits in the chair of her house and she says, hey, you come on over here. Come on over to my place. You know, that's what she be saying, right? And then The men hear that, and Solomon is saying, don't go to that, run. And then she says, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret places is pleasant. That right there is an invitation to fall. We always had cookies or potato chips growing up. And so sometime at night you go downstairs and you go in the cookie jar, at least I would, right? That's why I look how I look. And we had Oreos, right? Those are my mother's cookies, right? And so you take that one Oreo cookie and you eat it. And that was the best Oreo. Why? Because you were sneaking. Then you run and get in bed, forgetting that now you got all this black stuff between your teeth. And you get up and you been in them cookies? No. Why you got Oreos all up in your teeth, girl? But it was something good about that cookie, right? But then you got on punishment. You got in trouble. You got busted. Stolen water is sweet. We know it is. And then that bread that you eat in private is pleasant. But it's pleasant for how long? Maybe 20 minutes? Because eventually old boy got to get up and go home to his wife. Lord help me, Jesus. Somebody get free today. I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about what I know. And so you do what? You have these stolen moments, and it's sweet for just a little while. Then when you leave a motel room, you're looking like this. You're not going up in there together because you don't want to be seen together. You go, wait 30 minutes, and then you go. And then you leave first, and then wait 20 minutes, and then you leave. And so you have this little pleasure, but then when you look down the line, years later, what is it? What did it get you? Nothing. Okay, so what? You got a hamburger out the deal. You got taken to a restaurant. You got a meal. Maybe a few dollars. Maybe your rent was paid here or there. But what did it cost you? You know what I'm about to say. Let me get off this phone. Oh, my granddaughter saw my video. She's like, why does grandmother keep turning her head? I always turn my head. It's just I got some hair stuck on there today that you can tell I'm turning my head. You know what I'm about to say. Let me get off this phone, get my breakfast in, get my things upstairs so I can get back downstairs, go outside, get my walk on, get back upstairs, render unto Caesar those things which belong unto Caesar. And if it be the Lord's will, we will meet again. I don't know about tomorrow because it's my off day, but if I get up early enough, I sure will try. This your girl Sharon. I'm out, y'all. Deuces.